Welcome, everyone. Ready to dive into some geometry.
Always ready.
Now, I know geometry might sound like we're going back to high school, but this is different.
Oh, yeah.
This is like looking into the structure of the universe itself and even ourselves.
Yeah, it's kind of like getting a glimpse of the universe's source code
Exactly. And our guide for this journey is A Beginner's Guide to Constructing the Universe.
by Michael Schneider.
Right. Really fascinating book, tons of insights. And it's cool because it actually has you build stuff.
It's hands-on.
Yeah.
You really experience these concepts, not just read about them.
Love that. All right, so let's start simple with the circle.
Most basic shape, right.
You'd think so, but a lot of ancient cultures saw it as the beginning of everything, the foundation.
It all comes down to the idea of the monad. Think of it like this. A point expanding equally in every direction.
Okay, so the circle.
Exactly. Pure potential, total unity, and, it's also the most efficient shape.
Efficient.
Yeah, you get the most space with the least perimeter, like a perfect container.
Huh. Interesting. Now that you mention it, I see circles everywhere. Shields, cups, even old cities.
Right. It's like a blueprint, not just some abstract concept.
Totally. And if we zoom out, think bigger, the circle represents cycles.
Exactly. The orbits of planets, the seasons changing, even the ripple from a raindrop. It's all connected, always moving.
It's like those pictures of star trails, those perfect circles in the night sky.
The beautiful, right?
Speaking of two, that brings us to the dyad. Things get more complex now, right?
Absolutely. With the dyad, we see the line emerge.
Okay, so a line cuts through the circle, splits it.
In a way, yeah, it's separation. It creates tension, duality, But here's the thing.
What's that?
It also represents connection. It's like this push and pull, attraction and repulsion happening at the same time.
Like how we're drawn to some things and repelled by others.
Exactly. It's you and me. It's how we experience the world, full of opposites.
It's funny, even the word two, it comes from thou and you, like built into language.
That's deep. Language itself reflecting duality.
So can we talk about the Vesica Pisces? I've always found that symbol fascinating.
Ah, the Vesica Pisces. So it's where two circles overlap. You get that kind of almond shape.
Right.
It's found everywhere, across so many cultures, shows up again and again, representing that duality, the merging of opposites.
It's almost like a universal symbol.
It is. And, early Christians even used it to symbolize Christ.
Really?
Yeah, representing the divine and the human coming together.
That's amazing. It really makes you think about the significance of this shape appearing everywhere. Like, why? All right, so we've got this tension with the dyad. Now let's move on to resolution. The triad feels like finding that missing piece.
Yeah, like finding balance, bringing things together.
Exactly. It's that feeling of completion.
So think about like a story, right? It has a beginning, middle, and end.
Classic three-act structure.
Exactly. Or birth, life, death, the triangle, the visual for the triad. It embodies this.
Creating a stable foundation.
Exactly. And it's not just physical things, it's ideas too.
Like a braid. Takes 3 strands to make it strong. Whole.
Perfect analogy. And this concept, the triad, it's everywhere. Think about those old stories, 3 wishes.
Or the 3 fates. Stuff like that.
Right. Triple goddesses in myths. Like our minds get this, like we're wired for it.
It's true, we crave that resolution.
And even color theory. Right. 3 primary colors can make any color.
Just like 3 points define a plane in geometry.
It all connects.
All right, so from the triangle, we move into 3D, the tetrad, number 4. This is where things get solid.
Yeah, this is all about structure, stability, the stuff we can touch, the world around us.
Grounding ourselves, literally.
Right, the square, the cube. These are shapes of foundations, what we build upon.
And the way we see the world, 4 directions, 4 seasons.
4-legged animals bound to the earth.
Oh, and the 4 states of matter. Solid, liquid, gas, plasma, the building blocks.
And you know what's cool? The book suggests weaving as a metaphor for how these states interact.
Like they're woven together.
Yeah, to create the complexity of the world, it's a great visual.
Really cool. Okay, so from the solidity of 4, we go to 5. The pentad. This is where things get lively.
Oh yeah, things get dynamic. 5 is all about life. It's that spark of energy.
What's so special about 5?
Think about it. The pentagon, the pentagram, those are shapes of growth, regeneration.
You see it in nature all the time, right?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
5 petals on a flower, 5 fingers on our hand.
5 points on a starfish. So many living things have that 5-fold symmetry.
It can't be a coincidence.
Right. It's like a blueprint for life itself.
Exactly. It's that life force, that ability to regenerate. It's a powerful concept.
And here's something that blew my mind. Over 60 countries have a five-pointed star on their flag.
Wow, that's a lot.
What is it about that symbol that's so universal?
It's a visual, right? It
Again.
captures that energy of the pentad, that potential, that life force. It resonates across cultures.
Now, for the grand finale of this part, something that really shifted my view of the universe, the golden ratio.
Oh, yeah, that was a game changer.
It's mind-blowing. So it's not just a number, right?
No, it's more like a relationship, a proportion.
A proportion.
Yeah, you see it everywhere in nature, even in art and architecture. It's about this perfect balance, this harmony.
And it's tied to the Fibonacci sequence. Each number is the sum of the two before it.
Right, and you see that in spirals, like a nautilus shell or the way leaves are arranged on a stem.
And even the proportions of the human body.
Yeah, it's like nature uses this blueprint to create beauty and efficiency.
It's incredible, this simple math concept having such a huge impact on how the universe works. It's like a secret code.
It really is.
We'll dig deeper into more of these mysteries when we return for part 2 of our deep dive into the geometry of the universe.
Welcome back, folks. Still with us on this geometry journey.
Definitely. That golden ratio stuff really got me thinking. It's one thing to talk about shapes, but how does this actually play out in the world around us?
That's where it gets really cool. The book dives into some amazing examples, like how about the human body?
Oh, yeah. I remember reading about how we're basically walking pentagrams.
Exactly. Arms and legs outstretched, head, hands, feet, 5 points, boom, a star.
It's true. And not just the overall shape, but the golden ratios and our proportions, too.
It's all over. Like your wrist dividing your forearm at the golden ratio, and then your elbow doing the same to your whole arm.
It's like those Russian nesting dolls, the same pattern, but different sizes, kind of fractally.
It is. And it's not just us. The golden ratio pops up in tons of living things.
The nautilus shell, the arrangement of seeds in a sunflower.
Nature's using this blueprint for beauty and efficiency all over the place.
Speaking of those spirals in nature, that whole section really hooked me.
Spirals are mesmerizing, pure energy in motion.
Whirlpools, tornadoes, even galaxies.
And guess what? The golden ratio is often guiding those spirals as they grow.
No way. Seriously.
Yep, it's wild. And one thing I never considered before, the book pointed out how natural spirals often have this calm center.
Like the eye of a storm.
Precisely. All that crazy energy swirling around a point of stillness, we see it in how leaves grow around the tree trunk.
Or planets around the sun.
Exactly. It's like the zero at the start of the Fibonacci sequence. Yeah. The starting point for all that growth.
So even our solar system with the planets orbiting is a reflection of this geometry.
It all comes back to this interconnectedness, everything in harmony. It's amazing.
It really is. I gotta admit, I'm seeing geometry everywhere now.
That's the power of this book. It's like unlocking a code.
Yeah.
Seeing these patterns that were always there.
But it's not just about seeing them, right? It's about understanding what they mean.
Absolutely. The book goes deeper than just shapes.
Yeah.
It gets into the philosophy behind all of this.
That part about the heptagon, how you can't construct it with the usual tools, that was really interesting.
The heptagon, yeah, it's associated with the unborn virgin, the number 7.
7, yeah.
Often tied to spirituality, looking inward.
Yeah.
Like there are realms beyond what we normally see.
And the book talks about the 7 chakras, too, those energy centers in the body.
Right, connected to the 7 planets, the rainbow. It's like this whole system of 7s within us.
Yeah. It's wild that ancient cultures across the world, from India to Egypt, all have this idea of 7 energy centers.
It suggests some deep understanding of our energy and how it connects to the cosmos.
Makes you think about how this geometry can be used not just for the outside world, but also for ourselves.
Exactly. It's about seeing the patterns within, how we embody these universal principles.
So understanding duality, the dyad, can help us understand our relationships better.
Or the triad, that unifying force, can help us find balance in our lives or resolve conflicts.
It's like a toolkit for personal growth based on this ancient wisdom.
And that's the key. It's not just abstract ideas. It's about applying it to our lives, our relationships, how we see the world.
So what does all this tell us about how the universe began, our place in all of this?
Ah, the big questions. The book doesn't give any hard answers, but it offers some clues, It talks about how ancient cultures saw creation as this geometric process and unfolding from a single point, the monad.
Like the universe is this giant mandala starting from the center and expanding outwards, and we're all part of that.
Beautiful way to put it, and that's the key. We're not separate. We're woven into the fabric of the universe.
There's a quote from Walt Whitman that stuck with me. It's in the book. It says, "The earth is rude, silent, incomprehensible at first. Nature is incomprehensible at first. Be not discouraged. Keep on. There are divine things well enveloped. I swear to you, there are divine beings more beautiful than words can tell.
Love that quote. So true. It reminds us there's always more to learn, more to discover. The universe is full of wonder, and learning its language, the language of geometry, can help us unlock its secrets.
Powerful stuff. But how does all this ancient wisdom connect with what science is doing today? Do scientists still see the world through this geometric lens?
That's what I love about this book. It bridges that gap between ancient and modern. Remember, we talked about string theory and a 10-dimensional universe.
Yeah, mind-blowing.
But there are other connections, too, like the structure of crystals.
Oh, yeah, they're all about geometry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Atoms arranging themselves in these repeating patterns, often based on those platonic solids.
The tetrahedron, cube, octahedron, all those, the ancient Greeks thought they were the building blocks of the universe.
And in a way, they are, at least at the atomic level.
It's amazing how these old ideas are being validated by science.
It's like we're rediscovering this lost knowledge. And it's not just crystals. The golden ratio and Fibonacci sequence, they pop up in modern science too.
Really? Where?
DNA structure, brainwave patterns, it's all connected.
It's like this hidden code embedded in everything, proving how interconnected we all are.
And the craziest part, the more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know.
There's always another layer to uncover.
Always. So many mysteries left to solve, so many questions to ask.
Which is why we got to keep diving deeper, right? Keep searching, keep connecting the dots.
Absolutely.
But for now, maybe we should try to bring it all together, synthesize all these ideas. It's a lot to take in.
Good point. It's easy to get lost in the details, so what are the key takeaways, the things we want our listeners to really ponder?
For me, the biggest thing is realizing the universe isn't just random. It's built on these elegant principles, these geometric blueprints that guide everything from tiny atoms to giant galaxies.
Right, and those same principles are reflected within us, in our bodies, minds, how we experience everything.
It's about understanding our place in the grand scheme of things, realizing we're not separate but part of the design.
We're all pieces of the cosmic puzzle, each playing our unique role.
And by understanding the language of the universe, the language of geometry, we can understand ourselves and our place in the cosmos on a much deeper level.
As above, so below,
Right.
right? The patterns in the stars are reflected within us.
Powerful stuff. So of all the shapes and numbers we've talked about, is there one that stands out to you as especially significant?
Ooh, that's tough. They're all so interconnected, playing their part in the cosmic symphony. But if I had to choose, maybe the spiral.
The spiral?
Yeah, it's so dynamic, always moving, always evolving. It's never static.
Kind of like life itself, right? We're always growing, changing, moving towards something new.
Exactly. The spiral reminds us the universe is in constant flux, becoming something new, and we're part of that dance, always unfolding.
So bringing down to earth for a second, for someone listening who might be thinking, okay, cool, the universe is geometric, but how does this apply to my life? What would you say?
Great question. It's about realizing these principles aren't just abstract ideas. They're woven into how we live, how we interact, how we create.
So it's about actually using these principles in a practical way.
It starts with awareness. Once you understand them, you start seeing them everywhere. In your own life, your choices, your behaviors.
It's like getting a new pair of glasses, a new way to see the world and the order that's always been there.
Exactly. And when you see that order, you can start living more intentionally, more in tune with the natural flow of the universe.
So finding balance, creating harmony, recognizing that we're all connected.
It's not about obsessing over shapes and numbers. It's about understanding what they represent and using those principles to live a more meaningful life.
And that leads us into the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore how to actually apply these amazing concepts to our everyday lives. Welcome back to our final deep dive into the world of geometry. It's really been a journey, hasn't it? I keep thinking about the universe as this massive symphony.
Oh yeah, with all those shapes and patterns as the music blending together.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, if the universe is this incredible symphony, what role do we play in it? Are we just listening, or can we actually change the music?
That's the big question, isn't it? It's something philosophers have debated for ages. I think we're both listeners and participants, shaped by the universe, but also able to shape it in return.
So it's like not just appreciating music, but learning to play our own instrument.
Exactly. Each of us has our own unique instrument, our talents and abilities we can contribute to the symphony.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
But how do we actually do that? It sounds great, but how do we actually start influencing the universe?
It starts with aligning ourselves with those universal principles we talked about, those geometric blueprints.
The ones that shape everything.
Right. Those It's about seeing the patterns in our own lives, recognizing how we're already connected to the universe.
So working with it, not against it.
Exactly. We're not separate. We're part of it all. That means we have a responsibility to play our part in a way that helps the whole thing, to contribute to the overall harmony.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture. But how can people actually do this in their daily lives?
Well, the book has some great suggestions. Things like trying out geometric constructions yourself or observing nature with this new understanding of shapes.
Right, looking for those patterns.
Exactly. Or studying those ancient wisdom traditions. They have so much to offer.
Those are great starting points. But I think it goes even deeper than that, right? It's about living these principles in our relationships, our work, our creativity.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It's about mindfulness, being aware of your choices, your actions, and understanding they have an impact. They ripple outwards.
Like every thought, every word, every action, it all matters.
It all affects the universe, even in small ways. And by aligning ourselves with balance and harmony, with that interconnectedness, we create a more beautiful world. Not just for us, but for everyone who comes after us.
That's a powerful legacy to leave behind.
Absolutely. It's realizing we're not just here to take and consume, we're here to contribute, to be a part of something bigger that'll continue long after we're gone.
So understanding the geometry of the universe is also about understanding how to live a good life, a life with purpose.
Beautiful way to put it. We're all part of this incredible, ever-evolving story, and we have the power to make our contribution a positive one.
That's incredibly inspiring. So to wrap up, it's not about being passive observers. It's about being active participants in the universe, co-creating our own reality and the reality of future generations.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So to everyone listening, go out and explore the geometry of your world, look for the patterns, embrace the mystery, and see how you can add to the beauty and harmony of it all. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, keep searching.